Quieting the mind.
And our friend helped us to say it in the best way ever, quieting the mind for the purpose of a really supersonic, supercharged, active mind.
What? So wait.
Quieting the mind for the purpose of releasing the resistance that has been preventing me from my turbocharged connection to my real mind.
Right.
It's the way I work the bugs out of what's been holding me back from this connection. Because I've got these habits of thought that even though Abraham's written a lot of books and given me a lot of processes so that I could change those thoughts to something that would align me up here, I don't do it because these thoughts are so compelling. So if I just let those thoughts subside, then I'm here having an experience, oh, I'm different now.
Why? Why is our mind so...
Law of attraction. So right.
Okay.
You wouldn't want it to be any other way.
Okay.
You wouldn't want law of attraction to not be responsive. Law of attraction is your friend in its consistency.
So if I quiet my mind over time, what I've heard is people say that the mind will collapse, and that's effectively what alignment or enlightenment is.
Well, it's an odd description. It's not anything close to what happens. Your mind is not going to cave in.
What's it going to do?
Rather than thinking of a radio and its physical components, think instead of the signals that are being transmitted and received by it. Think of your mind as a transmitting and receiving mechanism rather than as a clump of flesh.
Okay.
So when you focus in a way that deactivates all these signals that are chaotic or that are resistant in nature, and in doing so, then the law of attraction will help your mind to respond to the transmission of who you really are and only of who you really are. Now you've got a strong, pure, non-resisted, non-scattered, non-challenged signal, not a collapsed mind.
Okay. How close am I?
Well, this alignment is not something like a college degree that once you get it is yours forevermore. It either is or it isn't in the moment. That's like getting in your car and saying to your radio, how close are you? How close are you to the signal of?
Sounds so exciting to be there, you know, just
well, don't you think
so
you often
exciting.
are?
I do. I think so. That's why I ask. I feel like I'm getting there.
Well, then why are you asking us?
Because you know everything.
But what we know is not important. Your inner being knows all of that too. Your inner being knows and 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 adores who you are, knows who you are and knows who you are and knows who you are and broadcasts to you who you are and broadcasts to you who you are. But until you get over there where you can hear it, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, did it make a sound? Did it? When the tree fell, there was a vibration emitted, but if there was nothing that could translate that vibration into sound, then there was no sound. So unless there's someone listening, of course you're aligned. Much of the time you're aligned. And we're happy to tell you that. But we don't want you to need us to tell you. Because you were born with a guidance system. When you feel satisfaction, you're aligned. And when you feel dissatisfaction, you're not. So when you say, am I satisfied or am I not satisfied? We say it depends on what moment you're asking. Because sometimes you're satisfied and sometimes you're not.
I'm getting confused by this stuff that I'm reading about enlightenment and the fact that, you know, I saw this woman who, I went to this silent retreat, and after we did some meditation, I looked at her before and then I looked at her after, and she seemed to be a completely different person. She was seeing the light, and her eyes were glowing from behind, and everything was beautiful. She saw how everything was connected and how everything is love, and I thought, wow, she looks like she's really there.
You know what changed?
What?
You know what changed? You.
Me? Her.
You.
Me. Okay.
You. She looked the same.
Oh, I changed. I saw her different.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something really good bubbling here, so let's go find it together. The piece that we really want you to hear is that your inner being is always broadcasting to you in this high, pure frequency that has no resistance within it. And in order for you to receive it as it is being offered, your frequency has to be equivalent to it. And that's really the point of meditation. It helps you to find that equivalency. The reason, when you say, am I there? Have I got it? Have I accomplished it? The reason that we want to explain to you really what that means is because we want you to understand that in any moment, your vibrational offering is most likely, if you're like most humans, being offered or exists. It exists because of whatever it is you're observing. So if you're observing something that is pleasing, then you're offering a vibration that might be the same equivalency of your inner being, because your inner being is always finding pleasure in what it is looking at. If you're observing something that is displeasing you, then that means your vibrational equivalency is not there. You've got more resistance in the mix. So now let's talk about why your mix of vibration happens in any point in time. Well, it's based upon what you are thinking about. But what you are thinking about is often really influenced by what you've been thinking about. Now, it doesn't need to be, but law of attraction really won't let go of you. So if you've been watching a particular television program and tuning yourself to a vibration because of the program that you're watching, then your own life begins reflecting some of that because you're offering this vibration. And you could stop watching that television program and that vibration would still be there, but not to the same intensity. And if you don't go back and watch it, eventually all of that would just wither. It would just peter out. It would just no longer be active in your vibration. So then you say, okay, then I'm not going to think about that. And we say, yes, you are. Because when you say I'm not going to think about that, you're thinking about that thing that you're not going to think about. So the way that you train or tune your vibration into things that are more beneficial to you and vibrationally equivalent to the way your inner being sees the world is by caring about the way you feel and reaching for the best feeling thoughts that you can find. And so there's a way of gradually just reaching for a better thought and a better thought and a better thought and a better thought and a better thought. But really, friends, while that's important, and when you're out in the world in the middle of your day, often it's the only thing that you can do because you can't just suddenly say, you annoy me, and then fall into deep meditation. You have to have some coping mechanisms, and focusing your thoughts is a way to do it. But what we really want you to hear is that how you've been thinking is likely to be the way you are thinking. That's just the way law of attraction is. But when you sleep at night, the momentum of those thoughts subsides. So when you awaken in the morning, you can direct your thoughts in a more specific way and maybe achieve vibrational equivalency with your inner being. In other words, the way the world feels to you is really about how close you are to the thinking of your inner being about the things that you are thinking about. Everything you think about, your inner being is thinking about while you're thinking about it with you. And your inner being has a very clear picture and opinion, you might say, of what it is you're thinking about. So if you're thinking about yourself and you're feeling derogatory thoughts about yourself and therefore negative emotion, that's an indicator that your inner being is not thinking those derogatory thoughts about you. So we know you get that. You've been hearing us say things like this for a very long time. What makes this conversation different for you maybe is that we want you to understand the momentum of thought and the benefit of stopping the momentum of thought. And that's why, so now we will insert again the statement, it is easier to teach you to have no thought than it is to change the momentum of your thought. Because law of attraction will not easily help you change the momentum of your thought. Law of attraction will help you keep the momentum of the same thought going. Does that make sense to you? What you're thinking about, law of attraction is just giving you more of. Because law of attraction is not considering whether it's beneficial, whether it's good for you, whether it's bad for you. Law of attraction is just matching up the vibrations. So the thoughts that you've been thinking are generating more thoughts that are similar. So if you want to change those thoughts, you can, but it's a slower process than if when you quiet your mind and there is no thought. Now think about that. So you've been sifting through contrast and you've sorted through the contrast and you've chosen what you prefer from the contrast that you've lived. So over here in this vortex, you've got this big pile of wanted. And it's not an inert pile, it's an active pile of things that you desire. It's an active pile that your inner being is intertwined with, and that your inner being has been active enough about, that your inner being has called law of attractions, resources, and forces, and energy to it. And so what you've been asking for has been growing and getting bigger. It's there for you. The question is, where are you in relationship to your vortex? Usually, like most humans, not all that close, because you're over here noticing what hasn't happened, or that there isn't a bear, or that there isn't money, or that your lover hasn't come, or whatever it is. So most people are vibrationally discordant from their own vortex, and therefore vibrationally discordant from their own inner being. So now, here comes Abraham, and we say to you, quiet your mind, and you say, why? And we say, because we said so. Quiet your mind. You say how, and we say, just by not thinking about anything. That's not easy. Well, then think about something really boring, like the sound in the room. Can you hear it? There are several sounds in this room that you could identify and isolate. So as you isolate the sound, so you quiet your mind, and when you quiet your mind, so here you are, you've got this mind and you've got this mind, and you've got a relationship between them. And the relationship between this mind and law of attraction's response to it, and your human physical mind and law of attraction's response to it. And so you've got this relationship, and your emotions are your indicator of how close to this mind is. How much is the vibrational equivalency? So you quiet your mind. And when you quiet your mind, then you stop all of this resistance. Then the only thing there is this mind, and law of attraction's response to this mind. And in that quieted space, then you, maybe for the first time, become one with your own inner being. One with what your inner being knows. One with what your inner being knows about you. One with what your inner being feels. The opinion of your inner being becomes yours. In other words, you are intertwined. You are in resonance with your total self. You are a pure positive energy being. Now, you've lived in the world, and you've been off the world, and you've chosen from the world all that you want. And all of those decisions that are worldly in nature and that are important out here on this leading edge, you've sifted and sorted them all. You did step one. You did really good at it. And your inner being did step two, and law of attraction helped. And so here it all is. And now you have, through meditation, managed to quiet your mind and allow your vibrational resonance with your inner being. And now you are one with all the things that you desire. And now and only because of this, you get to begin witnessing the physical counterparts coming into being. This is how thoughts turn to things. This is the process of how thoughts turn to things. This is why your economy is what it is today as compared to what it was 100 years ago. Everything is expanding because of your exposure to life and your asking of it, and the universal forces response to it, and then your allowing of it. You got that, didn't you? You got that. And so now we want to take it out of the nebulous vibrational equivalency vibration, and let's put it into some conversation that you can understand. You get what you think about. And you can tell what you're getting by the way you're feeling even before you get it. Or you can wait till you get it and then notice what you got. Most people wait till they get it and then complain about what they've got. So they perpetuate the same, so it's different places, different faces, different experiences, but same sort of life experience that they're living. We think that we said that more clearly than ever before. And we think, more importantly, that you received it more clearly than before.
Yeah. So don't fight the mind so much. It's there for a purpose, and kind of just figure out how to balance all of this without, I know, because I do feel like I'm in my mind. I feel like there's a separation between.
Can you feel the difference between saying, I'm not going to fight my mind, I'm not going to fight my mind, I'm not going to fight my mind, and thinking, what's that sound?
Okay.
Because when you're listening for that sound, you're not fighting your mind. But when you're saying, I'm not going to fight my mind, you're fighting your mind. You've got to withdraw the thought in order for it to become deactivated. And as long as it's active, it might be resistance in the mix. We're really making too much of all of this.
That's what my question was. Why is it such a thing?
Because you're making it one. Because you're making it a thing.